1015 FM, 720 AM. KDWN, the talk of Las Vegas.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. 1 full hour of wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's bring on the tag team of Andrew Fish Fain, Joe DeFalco, and your host, Mark Hoke.
We're going to miss Jared around here.
Oh, yeah.
We really are.
So like you miss herpes.
Wow. We're doing cheerleading stuff in here like the Spirit Squad did and all sorts of
I'm Kenny.
Here's Jared. Sorry. That would be a better visual joke.
Yeah, I would think so.
You know, you and I at
Gotta
least
start
have
doing
to
video.
We got to start doing some video. We'll get DeFalco in there too. Welcome to the Mark Hoke Show, everybody. Yes, the hysterics continue on.
The pre-WrestleMania Mark Hoke Show.
Yeah, how about that? I can't believe it's WrestleMania time again. Right?
Doesn't feel like it.
No, it doesn't. We're going to talk about that too. But thanks for joining us. Best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. Another big rating on the last ratings period. Thank you so much, everybody. We greatly appreciate it.
Especially those of you in North Macedonia.
And Denmark joined the party, so thank you.
Love the Danes.
I think it's like our 34th country that the podcast has been downloaded.
Best pastries in the world from Denmark.
Really?
Those Danish pastries.
Great Danes? I don't like Great Danes. No offense to the... I've been attacked by a Great
I was
Dane.
say, any dog that you have to look up when they poop is a dog that I don't want to deal with.
My family raised them that destroyed our home. Great Danes in the house all over the place. And I kid you not, if you do not know the size of a Great Dane, when a Great Dane greets you, it jumps up on you and it puts its paws on your shoulders and you are looking at it face to face. And it's just the weirdest thing in the world because you don't know if you should give it a big hug or prepare to die. One of the two. So, yeah.
I'm with you.
But anyway.
I digress.
I guess we are digressing. Best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. Thanks for being with us. I'm Mark Hoke, your esteemed host here on KDWN 1015 FM, 720 AM. And of course, out of the booth, one booth into another. That's all they ever do around here. Andrew Fish Fain, of course, co-hosting Monday night on Sports X Radio with Bernard Barnes, who, by the way, I'd recommend you tune in because there may be some Harry Carey on the show because Bernard is a former Purdue basketball and football player. So I'd say tune in for that, and Fish is probably going to encourage him to put a sword into his heart.
Peacocks!
So, yeah. So Andrew Fish Fain, everybody. And, of course, on the line as well with us, and Joe has got to get his butt out of bed sometime and come in here. You know what we should do? We should just go down to his house. We're going to DDT him.
Do a show on remote?
No, we're going to DDT him and bring him into the studio. He'll wake up here like, what happened? What happened?
We could do like Hulk Hogan did to Richard Belzer.
No, that's too mean. I don't want to leave a permanent mark. Joe DeFalco from Future Stars of Wrestling here in Las Vegas. Mr. DeFalco, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm surprised you neglected to mention how in between bombing children's hospitals, the Russian army is on board with the radio show, too. So
it is crazy, isn't it?
Well, that's why they take an hour off every Sunday from fighting just to listen.
We have we actually have a lot of fans in Russia and some in Ukraine, and just wish for everybody's safety over there.
Absolutely.
Should send Fish over there in a peacekeeping mission.
Yeah, I won't incite either side, not at all.
Fish would be walking around with a bottle of vodka saying, "Fiery!"
And he won't go crazy after eating a piece of pizza with jalapenos on it,
Yeah. Oh, golly gee whiz, I'll tell you what. Oh, wait, by the way, I was just looking at...
Rusev Crush!
we have another new country. Algeria has joined the party.
Love the Algiers.
Yes. Bizarre, isn't it? It's crazy how small this world has gotten.
Yes, it is.
But we love all of you. Thank you so much. It's awesome. But I do have one complaint about that real fast for Canada. To my friends in Canada. Will you please tell somebody in Saskatchewan to download the show? It's the most bizarre thing because if you've never done podcasting and stuff like that, and you see all the stats come in, like on mine, there's a map, right? I have a world map, I've got a U.S. map, and Canadian map, Australian map, so you see all the colors and everything. We have never gotten a download in Saskatchewan. All the other provinces, great. Never a download in Saskatchewan.
So we're good in Alberta.
Yeah, we're good in Alberta.
So the Hart family is listening.
Hart family's listening. Appreciate it. But nobody in Saskatchewan. Somebody's got to do something. And what I'm really mad about, too, is we haven't had one from North Dakota either, where I went to college. So thanks, guys.
They're still trying to figure out how to spell Saskatchewan. That's why they are not downloading.
I'll read it and then download it. All right. Anyway, enough about downloads and stuff. Boy, I'll tell you. Let's talk a little wrestling here.
Let's do it.
A lot of places to start, but I guess last week we paid tribute to Scott Hall, and now we get to talk about another legend stepping away who nearly died, apparently. Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Paul Levesque, has announced that he will not be stepping back in the ring. Of course, recently had what did they call it? A cardiac
incident
or something along those lines.
Episode, that's the word.
Episode, yes. Well, apparently that cardiac episode nearly killed him. And he is now announced that he will be retiring from in-ring competition.
He said that he has a defibrillator in his chest. He goes, so nobody wants to see me get shocked on live TV.
Really?
Well, being he hadn't wrestled in 2 years anyway, it's like, okay.
But he did. I mean, I don't know, Joe, if you saw the interview he did with Stephen A. Smith. First of all, the fact that Stephen A. Smith did a good interview is shocking enough.
Stunning. Anything good on ESPN is shocking at this point.
But the interview was interesting because one of the things that Triple H said is he goes, dude, I was on the 1 yard line looking at the precipice of death, and I thought I went to the hospital not knowing if I was going to die.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So, but Triple H has stepped aside. Of course, most recently was known for all the work he did in NXT, which got destroyed recently by Vince McMahon. But yeah, you mentioned that, by the way. Game had fluid around his lungs and hearts. And his ejection fraction in his heart was as low as 12%. Normal
it's 55 to 60.
50 to 70.
Oh, that was 55 to 60. Yeah, and he said that he went home and he got a call saying, do not pass go, do not collect $200, grab your stuff, come to the emergency room immediately.
Yeah. So, well, thank God he didn't die, But it was interesting that I was, when you hear this and you think about the in-ring career of Triple H ending, he was very good, obviously. Main eventer all over the place, multiple-time world champion. I was trying to think of matches that I really remember from Triple H. And, the match with Mick Foley where they got all the thumbtacks and the bats and all that stuff, which is the one that I really won me respect for Triple H because he stopped being all prissy in the ring and, actually, showed he could get a little nasty when he needed to. It was one I remember, and I pulled a list up, too, of some other matches.
That's the two I remember the most are the back-to-back WrestleManias against The Undertaker.
Yeah, those were really good. Let's see, what was the other one?
But
they had Bleacher Report made a list, and the number one was the No Way Out at 2001 with Steve Austin, the 3 Stages of Hell match. And I forgot about that one.
But was Triple H a good wrestler because he had opportunities, or did he have opportunities because he was a good wrestler?
Joe, what do you think about that?
Well, I everybody likes to say, well, he's in the Clique and he was in that. So it was just incredible. If you weren't good enough, you weren't going to get there. He got over. DX was huge. Triple H was a major guy. Despite having the job out to the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania in 35 seconds.
Ugh.
Yeah. Or having the Matt Classic with Henry O. Godwin in the Pigpen match or whatever.
Hershey Park Arena. I was there.
Triple H, he should go down as one of the greats of all time. He may have positioned himself, but he had to deliver. And, for anybody to say, oh, well, he didn't really deliver. Oh, he was in with The Rock and Austin and Foley. He fit right in that group. When you talk about those guys, you can't talk about one without the other.
Yeah.
And, Triple H definitely was the man.
Yeah, 14 championship reigns kind of tells you how good, what the company thought of him. And I can't think of another guy who was more hated as a heel or loved as a face than Triple H. Because when he was a face and DX, when they were the face group, everyone absolutely adored them. And then when he was a hated heel, everyone absolutely hated him, whether it be with the authority or with the corporation or whatever. So he played the role, whatever it was, perfectly.
Yeah, he did. And you almost remember Triple H more for what he did in promos than what he did in the ring,
or The Rock's impersonation of him.
I prefer, I thought the greatest moment was them doing the Nation of Domination in blackface myself.
Good Lord.
That was not good.
Now, that was good TV that you'll never see again, Mike.
No, you won't.
Absolutely.
Because it was, if you can
look past the racism.
if you can set that aside, the skit itself was funny. But, yeah, not a little tasteless.
Yes.
A little tasteless.
A little tasteless?
But, the one thing, too, I think part of the reason that you don't remember some of the stuff from Triple H was because a lot of the big matches that he was in, he lost. He's got a losing record at WrestleMania. Lost that match when Chris Benoit won the championship at WrestleMania when he and Eddie won that same night. Triple H was one of the guys in the ring when he lost that match.
I mean, he
won that match.
Yeah, he had never had a problem doing the job.
Yeah, and it's kind of it's kind of weird when you think about that.
He was like the anti-Hulk Hogan
because he did play a lot of backstage politics, but Vince humbled him a little bit for sure.
Oh, absolutely,
a couple of times, no doubt about that. But remember when he finished the match when he tore his quad. That was pretty crazy too. I mean, he's even there with Jericho and did a Walls of Jericho with a torn quad.
Yeah, what some of these guys go through and the injuries they've suffered and they still wrestle is absolutely amazing to me.
Triple H went through a lot. I believe he had a torn pec once and tore both of his quads a couple of times. I mean, he's done some nasty stuff to his body.
Another great moment was on Monday Night Raw when it looked like Chris Jericho beat him for the championship, and then they came back from commercial and did the Dusty finish. People went livid.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I forgot about that.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, there was that one. He had that street fight with Shawn Michaels when Shawn came back. And a lot of people were wondering, is Shawn going to be able to go at all the way he was moving and stuff? But that was a pretty amazing match. And a lot of good ones. And if you go back and take a look, and I said there was a really good article on BleacherReport.com, so I'd recommend checking.
Even
that
when
out.
he was Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah. So we'll miss Triple H in the ring. No match with Cody. Sorry,
Triple H. We hardly knew ye.
What a disappointment, because people were clamoring for that.
Oh, come on.
People are more concerned about the fact that what happened with the NXT stuff. Like, he's transitioned on. Nobody thought of him as a wrestler anymore anyway. The question is, what happened at NXT, and does he have any influence whatsoever? And why was there a falling out between seemingly of him and Vince getting rid of all the Triple H guys? I think that's what people are more interested in.
Yeah, at the moment, absolutely.
I was going to say, I think you hit the nail right on the head, because I still wonder, it almost seems like Vince was cutting off his nose to spite his face getting rid of some of those guys like William Regal. There was absolutely no reason for it.
I think that the reasoning behind it was he wanted to be able to mold his wrestlers, his sports entertainers, his superstars, the way he wanted. And he doesn't want the old school anymore. And he doesn't want to deal with indie wrestlers coming in and having to retrain them and have their, what he would consider bad habits. He's really trying to just bring in athletes and make them professional wrestlers.
Mold them from nothing, and it's easier to do that when they don't have a background.
Right. And, you don't, and, it's probably why guys like William Regal and Triple H are gone, because you don't want that old school influence.
But that old school, but the problem is that old school thing was successful, and if it's all about business, shouldn't you follow the business model that's successful?
Well,
I don't consider it old school, because old school was back in the day signing the Brock Lesnar's and stuff. This was a newer policy that Triple H instilled, and they made sure that I remember it was last year at SummerSlam that there was a new sense of tryouts. And it was funny because we had done our, weekend shows, and, Daivari went back in the company. So, Sean was looking for a couple of our younger guys. They were just looking for the big younger guys that, weren't there. And a few of the guys that we know at that show had gotten signed, and they'd only had a couple of matches. And it's 100% that they wanted people without any habits, and they decided that they were going to go in a route which, was signing all these people, as you said, the football players and the amateur wrestlers, and, they can pay them less, and now they're throwing 100 against the wall, and they're hoping a few stick. While in the past, guys that probably would have never got a shot, like a Johnny Gargano and a lot of these others, weren't high on Vince McMahon's radar. And
they weren't big, sweaty men.
What's NXT? Does anybody care anymore?
No, I mean, it's funny because right now NXT is the most compelling television WWE is doing.
Yeah, it was funny. I was going through Twitter this morning, and Buff Bagwell had been live tweeting a couple of the wrestling shows and was saying something like, my recovery can't handle watching SmackDown anymore. Something like that. It was pretty. It's Buff Bagwell, but it was pretty funny.
That is funny.
And some of these shows have been pretty tough to watch, and the lead into WrestleMania has been.
Well, this is go home week.
Best. Like, who cares?
That's
the sad thing. Who cares? It's just another extension of Raw or SmackDown. It's not even. There's nothing special about anything.
I was just going to say, it does not feel special this year. And it's one of the first years for me the last 2 years I thought it was just weird because of the pandemic, and I was going to chalk it up to that. But this year really does not feel special at all.
It's like they're trying to get two shows off on it because they're going to make their money. And it's like, really, does anybody really want to hold off Drew McIntyre and Happy Corbin for WrestleMania? Like that's not even a main event on a SmackDown show. That's like, the second match, and Drew beats Corbin in 3 minutes.
Just the way you say that is funny, and it's true. It's sad, and it's funny and true.
How does Drew McIntyre and Happy Corbin get more time at WrestleMania than Bryan Danielson and Sheamus?
Yeah, this WrestleMania just doesn't feel
WrestleMania like.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
Because WrestleMania used to be, it was pumped up to be the biggest show of the year. You think you used to be so excited because the Royal Rumble kicked off the road to WrestleMania, and the road has been a tiny little pathway. It's nothing.
And it's not like they're not doing builds to these matches, but it just feels very
forced,
repeated. It's like we're doing the same thing. We're doing it again.
In the past, it was like, wow, Hulk Hogan and The Rock. And it's like, is there that much excitement about Steve Austin coming back to fight Kevin Owens? I don't know.
It's going to be the KO show, and they're going to get in an argument. And we know what's going to happen.
Right, but Kevin
they're going to get in a fight. And
it's going to be a fight. It's not going to be a stunner immediately. It's just going to take 2 minutes.
Yeah, and Kevin Owens' impersonation on Raw was actually very funny and very well done, but it was absolutely ridiculous. You're right, the build isn't there. It's not a huge deal, and it should be.
It's like they're forcing Austin down your throat, which is sad.
It feels like the Dallas Cowboys. I'm an Eagles fan, so I can say this, but it feels like the Dallas Cowboys. You've got the prime team. You've got the location, you've got everything that you could possibly want, but you don't deliver in the end, and it's kind of like
you got the sizzle, but you don't got the steak.
Yeah, and
no cocaine. So,
well, I don't know about that, Joe. Oh God, but yeah, we're gonna go through that WrestleMania card. But one thing I wanted to mention here real quick is the possibility of a certain former WWE champion making a comeback here at WrestleMania. And I'm talking about Bobby Lashley, who was supposed to be on the shelf.
Comeback? He was hurt. They didn't come back. Well, it isn't like he's retired.
Well, it's considering he wasn't supposed to be back for months.
He's supposed to be returning to face.
They need somebody to put over your boy Almost, you know.
And that is the big question that I have. So Bobby Lashley, of course, hurt his shoulder at the Royal Rumble, and they had to do the whole setup at Elimination Chamber to get the title off of him because he couldn't wrestle at WrestleMania. Well, apparently he may be getting medically cleared to come back. So Bobby Lashley's going to come back and wrestle at WrestleMania.
So basically, Almost is going to come out to the stage, say, "Anybody in the locker room want to take me on?" And now comes Lashley.
So, but here's my question to Joe, and I want to get your honest opinion on this. Of all people that you could put one of your top guys in the ring with, who's barely recovered from whatever happened to him, and honestly probably shouldn't be in the ring. You're going to put him in the ring with a raw, massive rookie who probably has a decent chance of hurting him? I mean, is this a good idea?
It's not going to. First off, maybe Lashley really wasn't hurt. A, and B, this is where it almost goes down. They saw the build. They saw nobody cares. So now Lashley gets to go in and destroy this guy who they were building up as a monster. I see a minute squash.
And I think I guess the question is, does that happen and make Lashley look stronger by doing it, or does it do nothing for Lashley?
In our opinion, it probably doesn't mean that much, but in the WWE universe, they've built Almost as this unstoppable great Khali. So, when Khali and the Giant Gonzalez and these guys who walked in the beginning, they got this monster push until they didn't anymore, and then somebody had to kill them. So, what else is Lashley going to do? Is he going to walk in and feud with Drew McIntyre again? No, let's beat the undefeated guy who we think, puts Bobby Lashley back on the road, because once they unify the titles, a week later, they're going to have to vacate one of them anyway. So now Lashley will be the favorite to win the tournament.
Yeah,
which is terrible, but that's where I see it going.
Yeah, I guess when I'm thinking of this too, I'm just like, gosh, for Almost to do anything in here, I mean, and even for Lashley to do something, he's going to have to do something fairly spectacular to a really large guy and someone who's had shoulder issues in the past. Man, I don't know if that's the guy I'd want to put him in with. I'd rather put him in with somebody smaller.
Yeah,
coming back,
Cody Rhodes.
No, not quite. Not quite. But
Brandy Rhodes would be better.
There you go. Actually, that would be kind of cool.
Have Lashley smash Brandy Rhodes
at WrestleMania? I'd be down with that.
Hey,
I think the world would love that.
I would pay for that.
Yeah.
It would be like,
They had Bubba Ray
that.
Dudley throw Mae Young through a table, so,
I'm going to get you, Bobby Lashley. And everybody's going to be like, no, that was cool. Cody, let it go, man. Let it go.
He's not I'm going to get you. I'm going to thank you, Bobby Lashley.
It's just another match just to get on there, because now, instead of having 8 special matches for WrestleMania, now you're going to do 16, and you're going to do 2 or 3 on each preview, on each pre-show. And nobody's going to work twice. So you're basically trying to get 56 guys on this show now. I even saw what they're doing, the Andre the Giant Battle Royal on Friday.
Yeah, they're doing it on SmackDown.
Yeah,
Why?
I heard that they weren't going to have it on WrestleMania weekend. I was like, that's insane. The whole idea of it was for that.
Yeah.
Well, it is WrestleMania weekend. It's on the Friday.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we have to get ready to head into a commercial break. I don't know how long you got, Fish, because you have to haul out of here, but we have our WrestleMania odds. So we're going to talk
WrestleMania is very odd.
Talk a little WrestleMania coming up next weekend. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show.
So it's at Mark Hoke Show, but Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show, because that's my mistake. I keep promoting it wrong.
Everybody screws that up.
Totally different.
Yeah.
I just love Joe.
Whatever. Stick around, everybody. We'll be right back with more of this Insanity on KDWN 101.5 FM, 720 AM. Yeah, it is the talk of Las Vegas. Ain't no doubt about that. Jared, take us to break. Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join the Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.
1015 FM, 720 AM. KDWN, the talk of Las Vegas.
You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
Hey, everybody. Fast fade for Jared. You're the best fader in the business. You know that, all right? Inside joke. It's Jared's last day here at KDWN. We're going to really miss him. And so I'm giving him an extra, few stone cold salutes.
I thought last week was his last day.
He had one more day today. This is it. And that means I'm going to have to work 7 days until our friend Lord's in there gets, she's getting ready to go. Lord S, I'm sorry. I'll get it right. My apologies. Don't shoot me in there, guys. Anyway, before we get too deep into the WrestleMania woods here, I did want to mention something real fast that happened. The New Japan Cup wrapped up because we do pay a little bit of attention to what's going on over there. And I tell you, pretty good tournament. Zack Sabre Jr. wins the New Japan Cup, beats Will Ospreay along the way in that one. And Joe, I'm curious your thoughts on Zack Sabre and Jr. and Will Ospreay, two guys who really it's shocking that they haven't gotten signed to a WWE or AEW contract yet. Those two are just amazing. I mean, Ospreay did some Ring of Honor work, but two terrific guys, and Sabre Jr. winning the New Japan Cup. Pretty cool.
Yeah, both of those guys. We tried getting both of them at different times, but they've basically dedicated their time to Japan. Kind of like Jeff Cobb. He lives in Vegas. And they've had great success, and even Cobb had a taste in AEW and Impact and Ring of Honor, but it seems like those guys have found a niche there, and obviously the pay must be good enough because they don't seem to have that much interest in coming over. And yeah, you would think AEW would be the perfect place. For especially Zack Sabre Jr. and Ospreay, and seems like they're just very content with being New Japan stars. So,
yeah, and if you haven't ever watched either of these two guys, man, they are fantastic. They are probably, other than some of the Japanese wrestlers, of course, probably two of the best wrestlers in the world that people that are typical American fans don't really know enough about. They're absolutely amazing. So would recommend checking those two guys out, hitting some YouTube up and watching a few matches. Of course, that Will Ospreay Ricochet sequence has become legendary over the years. And
right, maybe they've seen what the U.S. wrestling market did to Ricochet and even Okada when he was in the States to be like, yeah, we're good where we're at.
Yeah. Run away. Yeah, absolutely. It was kind of a light week in AEW. I think my favorite match that happened on the shows this week was CM Punk against Dax Harwood from FTR. That was pretty solid match. Every time it seems like Dax and Cash get a chance to wrestle singles, they put it out there. They do a great job, and it almost looked like Harwood was going to win that match for a second. It was getting pretty intense. Your thoughts on FTR doing some singles work?
Well, they have so many tag teams. I guess if it's a way to get them on TV, they just got so many tag teams that it's great, but it's also a shame because we've seen what's happened. Pentagon and Phoenix had to go that route. Santana and Ortiz, and it's like, instead of concentrating on, 4 or 5 tag teams, they got 7 or 8. And there's only so much time on a television show. And, it's great to say, oh, well, they got AEW Dark, and they got Rampage, and they got Dynamite, and they got this on YouTube. But Dynamite's the show. And, you know, that's a Monday Night Raw. Rampage, I guess, is a SmackDown. And, you know, sometimes, you know, where's Jay Lethal? You know, what's Adam Cole doing over there? Like, oh, my God, Adam Cole's in AEW. And it's just like, oh, Adam Cole's in AEW. Great.
Well, it's funny you mentioned this, too, because they did wrestle on Dynamite this week. Had a really good match. And Lethal did the whole, you know, lost the match and did the whole, I've got to figure this out thing, and you know something's got to change and all that kind of stuff. I think it's going to be interesting that maybe they're setting Lethal up for a push here. Or, you know, of course, Ring of Honor is going to be doing the Supercard on, I believe it's the 1st, if I'm correct, over WrestleMania weekend. So it'll be interesting to see where Jay Lethal goes. Do you think that maybe Lethal is going to get a chance to get a push here in AEW?
Well, you would have thought that he would get the push the minute he came out, but instead they give him a title shot with Guevara and lose. And, you know, again, I guess when there's so many guys, you would have thought that they'd be able to take a guy like Jay Lethal and put him in a great spot. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. He's awesome. You know, maybe he's going to be so mad he's going to lose his mind and he's going to come back as the Macho Man.
I have a feeling Lethal is cooking up some sort of gimmick that I think is going to blow people away. Because like you said, he
canceled. So
yeah, I mean, he kind of he came in, he had a title match with Sammy Guevara, and he lost this match with Cole. Otherwise, he was winning a lot of other matches on the dark shows. But obviously, you got a guy like Jay Lethal. You got to do something with him, and I have a feeling something cool's going to come out of this. I hope.
I saw this week Lance Hoyt loses to Dustin Rhodes. Like, seriously?
Yeah, that happened. That did happen.
Like, wow. The 50-year-old with no upside loses to the guy perceived as a monster who's 6'8" and tries to kill people. Like, wow.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it wasn't AEW's best week this week, but some cool stuff. Ricky Starks had a good match with Swerve Strickland, but Swerve loses on his first big match on TV there, so I don't know how helpful that was.
Yeah, they bring everybody in to lose. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird week in AEW, but of course now I got to get into the WrestleMania odds, and of course we degenerates here because we're in Vegas. We have to go to betonline.ag, and they need to sponsor the show. It's ridiculous, but they have betting odds where you can actually go and bet on wrestling matches. And Joe, they have stepped up their game, and NXT Stand and Deliver has odds on their matches as well. Can you believe that?
Uh-oh. I better call Solo Sikoa and get the guarantee, brother.
There you go. Get the inside
Make some dollars.
So I think we're gonna have enough time. We'll blow through these real fast. On the NXT Stand and Deliver card, the matches they have up, we've got Braun Breaker wrestling Dolph Ziggler for the NXT title. Braun Breaker is a minus 1,200 against Dolph Ziggler's plus 6. Is there any chance Dolph Ziggler wins this match?
Well, yeah, they did the no reason title change, and they made it a 3-way, so Braun didn't have to be pinned. So now in a one-on-one match, they gave themselves the main event for a show since there was nothing else for Braun to do. He wasn't really feuding with anybody, so they had the Ziggler thing. So, it was good to get a main roster guy. But again, Dolph has been positioned as extremely weird with Rude, so it's like, okay, Braun's going to win. Why did they take the belt off him in the first place? I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, that made no sense to me at all. The women's championship match is a fatal 4-way. It is Mandy Rose, the champ, who is a minus 110 against Cora Jade's plus 260, Io Shirai's plus 325, and Kaylee Ray's plus 350. So they're favoring Mandy to win the match. Does she stay the champion, or maybe we see Cora Jade win this thing?
No idea. It's like they just like to rotate belts and stuff like that. So it is WrestleMania. In a lot of cases, it's like, hey, we got 5 new champions. They can, make the headline and do all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
She hasn't been champ that long, so you would think you'd want to give her a little bit of a run, but it's WWE, so you can't really think what they have in their mind of what they want to do.
Tag team championship at NXT is on the line as the Champions Imperium, one of my favorite tag teams in the world, taking on the Creed Brothers and MSK, and the Creed Brothers are the minus 220. Imperium's the plus 250, MSK plus 400. So it looks like everybody's thinking the Creed Brothers, who've gotten a pretty good build-up here, are going to walk out with the titles. I'd agree with that. I think it looks like they're going to put the Creed Brothers over there. Any dispute on that? No, that's what I thought.
I prefer Zach Wentz and Xavier, but they gave him their run, so they're,
All right, and then we have Tommaso Ciampa taking on Tony D'Angelo. Just okay. Tommaso's minus 350 on this. Once again, I love Ciampa. Just not excited about this match at all.
Yeah, they need to get him on the main roster and just stick him there. With the way they're trying to do NXT and stuff, it's kind of like he's the odd man out. Everybody else left.
Yeah,
you would think, okay, they're not that with the new version of what they want NXT. Ciampa's the only holdover there.
Yeah, so get those young kids in there and set Tommaso free. Gunther, the former Vaulter, is taking on LA Knight, and Gunther is a minus 900 on this one. So it looks like Gunther, I would imagine Gunther will be going over on LA Knight, I would think.
Never count out my guy, Sean Ricker. It's like they did the angle and he on the promo and he got the better of him, but then gets thumped in a match against him. Why are they doing a rematch if they're just going to have Gunther win again? I don't know. That seems like it's a good way to bury LA Knight.
Yeah, that is a shame, too. So, of course, we're on the Mark Hoke Show. Thanks for being with us. We are live here on KDWN 101.5 FM, 720 AM. As we continue breaking down WrestleMania weekend, we've got some betting odds for you. If you're really feeling degenerate, you can go to betonline.ag and throw some money down. So let's go to WrestleMania, Joe. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, Joe DeFalco, future stars.
Do we have enough time? Since there's 104 matches.
No, it's only there's only 11 technically.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's not bad. We have Drew. We should get through this one quick. Drew McIntyre minus 1,000 against Happy Corbin's plus 500. Is there any way Corbin goes over in this match?
I might have to find 100,000 and put on Drew. That if he loses, that should be the mortgage closer right there. Drew McIntyre, lay the 1,000.
There you go. There are actually a lot of tight odds on some of these matches, and this is one of them. Dominic and Rey Mysterio, minus 140 against Logan Paul and The Miz, who are plus 100. So the odds makers can't seem to make up their minds on this. I'm kind of torn on this, too.
If it was Rey Mysterio against Logan Paul, then I would tell you all day to take Logan Paul because WWE likes to put the celebrities over. But in a tag match, Miz is used to taking the fall. So, if they want to go that route, that's an easy fix. You just have Miz take the pin.
Yeah, and then of course you get Logan Paul against The Miz at some point. So if you wanted to. Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make everybody throw up in their mouths. I'm gonna stay with Dominic and Rey on this. I think you gotta let the father-son team get their win at WrestleMania. So I'm okay with that.
It could be the beginning of the turn that Fish always wants. So.
It's not happening. Why did you even bring it up? We could have gotten through a show without hearing that.
Well, maybe maybe on his ride to pick up some cheesecake that he's listening.
There you go. WWE Raw Tag Team Championship is now a triple threat match. The, once again, champions RK Bro, Randy Orton and Riddle, minus 200 against the Street Profits and Alpha Academy. Street Profits plus 250, Alpha Academy plus 350. Joe, you like RK Bro to come out of the titles?
Yeah, there's no reason to take the belts off the most over tag team they have in the company right now. It's like they're loved. It's like, I don't see the Street Profits on their level. But again, if I was booking it, I would set up RK Bro for something with at least with the Usos down the line, but who knows?
All right. And I agree. RK Bro is going over in that one. The Raw Women's Championship match, Bianca Belair is minus 550 against Becky Lynch, the current champion. So apparently everybody thinks that Bianca's going to get her revenge for what happened here in Las Vegas at SummerSlam. Joe, do you agree?
Yeah, that perception was, she got done dirty, and, they've trying to give her that big push, since then. So, WrestleMania moments, everything's about the WrestleMania moments. So it'd be like, for her to get her comeuppance at WrestleMania is probably the best time to do it instead of some random Raw or SmackDown.
All right. And then this is one I might go against the odd makers on this one. The SmackDown Tag Team Championship, the Usos are the champions. They are minus 200 against Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs. And who would have thought a month ago that this match would even be happening at WrestleMania? But Joe, I kind of like Nakamura and Boogs to maybe win this match. What do you think?
It'd be a good moment for a guy like Boogs. I don't know. It's weird with Nakamura that it's like they kind of want to push him, but they really don't want to push him. And, it seems like, Boogs has gotten himself like a cult following. You know what I mean? It's like, but for some reason, they love keeping the belts on the Usos. So, I guess if you're going to take an upset special, taking a flyer on Boogs and Nakamura, why not?
Yeah, I think people are really digging Rick Boogs, and he does some cool things in the ring. And when you see some of the military presses and the one-arm stuff that he does, the dude's pretty powerful. It's neat to see. He's a real electric personality, really peppy, I guess would be a word to describe him. So
modern day Rick Rude right there.
He does look like a bulkier Rick Rude. That was something that I thought of a long time ago. And I would be interested to see what would happen if he went heel and could take on a persona somewhat like Rick Rude's. So, but I think Boogs has some possibilities. SmackDown Women's Championship match, we've got Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. Flair the champ, but she is not the favorite. What a shock. Ronda Rousey minus 600 against Charlotte Flair's plus 350. I cannot imagine Ronda Rousey not winning this match, but who knows? Joe, what do you think?
Well, we need to find out Rousey's contract. If it's for 6 months, there might be a way for her to lose. But, yeah, it's kind of like when she was at the Rumble, and I said it. It was like, well, she hasn't scheduled to be in it, but if she is, she was a great person to take because they're not going to make her lose, and it's kind of the same scenario here. It would be a big feather in the cap, for Charlotte Flair to pin Ronda Rousey, but I don't know if they're going to go that route just yet.
Yeah, I think Rousey's going to be going over on this one. Here's another one that I think could have some possibilities of an upset. The Women's Tag Team Championship match, which if I was betting on it, I might care. Naomi and Sasha Banks are the favorites at minus 200. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley at plus 185. Zelina Vega and Carmella are the champions, and they are plus 500 to walk out without the belts. And Shayna Baszler and Natalya are plus 750. I think a couple intriguing possibilities in there, Joe. What do you think?
Well, again, for some reason, everybody thinks that Baszler is going to get this and she's going to get that, and it just seems like somebody in the higher ups is just not a big fan. There was numerous times, she's going to become the champ. Didn't happen. And, Natalia's been around forever. So, and I'm not a big fan of Zelina Vega's tag team either. So I'd go with the favorite because it's a small favorite.
Is there the one thing, though, about Baszler and Natty in this match, it would be a nice moment for Natty to win on this thing. I'd almost be tempted to take a little flyer on that. I don't know why. I mean, I don't think they're going to win. I would lean towards Naomi and Sasha winning this, but would you take it? Throw a couple dollars down for a plus 750 on that?
I guess. I just don't understand them as a tag team to begin with. So, that might be part of it on my side. It's like, why is she even in a tag team? It's like Baszler should be killing people, but then again, her gimmick is the same as Rousey. She's the shoot MMA UFC fighter type thing. So it's like, I guess sticking her in a tag, makes it different. And, I think her and Natty, she's had her run. She's had her ups. She's had her downs. It's kind of like, there's no thrill there anymore.
Understood. Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn are hooking it up. The Jackass Star is minus 300 to defeat Sami Zayn. Zayn is a plus 200. Any chance Zayn wins this match, or is this just going to be a Johnny Knoxville insanity show?
Well, on an interesting note, I actually watched Jackass yesterday, and it was just as funny as it had always been. So, unless Wee Man turns on Johnny Knoxville, I said it earlier, they try to make sure those celebrities somehow go over. And Sami Zayn's always been that guy who they instill the comedy gimmick in there, and he usually comes up short. So the only thing I see is I'm not sure Johnny Knoxville has even come across as a babyface. So it's weird.
Yeah, it is a strange match. So I would think Johnny Knoxville's going to win, but we'll see what happens. The nobody wins match, as I like to call it, Austin Theory against Pat McAfee. Austin Theory is a minus 150, McAfee a plus 110. Either guy will be hurt if they lose. Austin Theory, your favorite on this one, Joe, or you think McAfee's going to pull this out?
I like McAfee. I like everything he does there. But, Austin Theory is this, the young up-and-coming stud wrestler.
Yeah, you can't kill him.
It'd be nice to give him that WrestleMania win to at least to put that notch on his belt, because he's a guy that, has a bright future.
All right. AJ Styles and Edge. AJ is the favorite, minus 160, Edge plus 120. Are they right?
Well, every big match Edge has had since he's come back, he's pretty much lost. I think he won one, but, I think he's like 1-11. So, AJ supposedly in line for the big push. He did the deed to Omos, and now he's come back strong. It seems like it would kill the momentum if he now loses. You just turned him babyface. So you just turned him and then made him lose again. Now where would he go?
Yeah, exactly. So I like AJ in this one too. And then the final match, at least at this point, of course, we know Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins are probably going to be hooking it up. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, the title unification match. Reigns is a minus 350 on this. Lesnar plus 225. Joe, this is all going to be over, hopefully. Who's walking out with the WWE Championship?
I got to believe this whole setup, and it was done weirdly, was, to totally establish Roman Reigns as, the John Cena of this generation. So, we know Brock's that, I'm in, I'm out, and he's, had a good run, and his baby face has really helped solidify Roman Reigns' heel, and with Heyman turning on Brock, it doesn't really make sense to put Brock Lesnar over, but, a lot of people never thought he was going to get put over The Undertaker, and,
True.
Vince McMahon loves Brock Lesnar, but, and the reality of it is Roman Reigns should win.
All right, and I will, at least at this point, take Roman Reigns as well, but you and I will get a chance to revisit Sunday's matches because we'll be on the air next Sunday on the last day of WrestleMania. So, of course...
before we wrap, I got a show tonight at 6 p.m. Hammerstone will be there, and a lot of our good guys. So, FSW Arena, 6 p.m.
Oh, there you go. Maybe I can sneak down there. That'd be awesome. So go to FSWVegas.com and check that out. Hey, thanks for listening to the Mark Hoke Show. We appreciate it. For Andrew Fish Fain, Joe DeFalco, I'm Mark Hoke. Follow us at Mark Hoke Show on Twitter, Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show, markhokeshow.com. Download that podcast, markhokeshow.podbean.com, and all your favorite podcast outlets. We would certainly appreciate it. So, hey, we'll be back on WrestleMania weekend next Sunday. Thanks for joining us here on KDWN. Have a great Sunday. Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join The Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.